we go. So right off the bat, we're gonna have to go into the pack. I like these. I'll probably use coins to get those later, though. Oh, you can still get him. And then, there we go. Okay. Add 1, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only, cast a vampire spell, create a blood token. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each vampire you control. Okay, so destroy target artifact or enchantment, gain 3 life. We've already had these. Target creature gains 3 and first strike till the end of turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, casting Fire Breather deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay, I can see this getting annoying. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, gains haste until the end of turn. Create a blood token. I already don't want to see that. Counter target creature card, create a blood token. Okay, so we're going to be seeing all across the board lots of blood tokens. Whenever wedding security attacks, you may sacrifice a blood token. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on wedding secretary and draw a card. Whenever. Okay, so we still got some nightbound and daybound cards. So whenever infestation expert enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. Whenever werewolf enters the battlefield, create 2. Okay, so I'm pretty sure they're trying to keep going on with the day and night function, which I'm not mad at. I actually didn't like it. Whenever Hive Sherman attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card that doesn't share a land type with the land you control. Put that card into. Okay, so we have a lot of. I can see that being for a rainbow. Okay, let's see. So when Flourishing Hunter enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to the greatest, you gain life equal to the greatest toughness among the other creatures you control. Destroy enchantment. When Rot Tide enters, exploit creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Exploit. Okay. When a creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. Flame Blast, deal 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it. We've had those. Target creature gains indestructible. Target creature with destroy target creature with. Okay, these might actually be worth having a few. Equipped creature gets +2, gets an additional +3 and has first strike as long as an equipment name Gloom's for. Okay, so that's for like an equipment deck where you gotta match a few. Bride's Ground. Okay, so and then having the Groom Spirit mythic card. Let's see. More Moldgraph. So when Moldgraph enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards, then put 1/1 counter on Moldgraph Millipede for each creature in your graveyard. Okay, that's gonna. I mean, there's a good chance. Well, since it's a green deck, there's a good chance you might be running into these, even though the cost. Daybound 4/4, and then Nightbound. Rip Hook Raider can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less. That's good for Death Touch. Enchant creature, enchanted creature can attack or block. Wretched dies. You may search your library for a card named Wretched Throg. put it into your hand, then shuffle. Retrieve, return one target creature and one target non-creature permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile, retrieve. Okay, that's gonna be annoying. So it looks like what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna have a lot of exile cards. We want to exile a lot from the graveyard. So previous white mana decks already had the current meta for white mana decks were the running exile cards and constantly exiling graveyard cards. So white mana for the most part should be fine, but I know this is probably where you're gonna see a lot more red, and not like red spell decks, but more red aggro decks, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing. When dominating vampire enters, gain control of a target creature with a mana value less or equal to the number of vampires you control until the end of turn. Untap that creature, gains haste until end of turn. Okay, so this for 4 mana, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. That token. Okay, we got a bunch of other new ones to look at. Alchemist Retrieval, return one non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. Okay, we've already had these, but the only difference is it has Cleave. You may cast this spell for its spell cost. If you do, remove the words in square brackets. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. So you can cast this spell for its Cleave cost, which is an extra mana. If so, remove the words in square brackets. So the card would normally, with 1 mana, return non-land creature or return non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. So you can only take out your cards, but if you pay the Cleave cost, you can now do your opponent's card. Which I like the whole Cleave thing, but will it make blue decks more annoying? Most likely. Choose one, deal damage to target creature, destroy artifact. You might be seeing more of these. And especially since right now it looks like we're going to be running into more mana, or not, artifact decks, because of the people might just end up, and again, this is all speculation, destroying your blood tokens. We got Blood Craze, Socialite, Menace. When Blood Craze enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Whenever Blood Craze attacks, you may sacrifice a blood token. If you do, it gets 2/2 till end of turn. Not bad. Discard a creature, draw a card. Discard a creature card to draw a card. Okay, this is different just on the sheer fact it is a creature card. So now we have a creature card that you can tap in the battlefield to then draw a card. But on the downside is you're gonna have to get rid of your creature card. At the end, the festival or the festives deal 1 damage to each opponent and each creature. Wait, at the end, the festive deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalkers they control. Okay, this might actually end up doing something for some decks. A lot of those, back when we had a lot of aggro, like the aggro red decks where they would try to burst you down in like 3 turns. You know, something like this might come in handy, especially if you're doing like a combo with blue, so you can copy it and spam it twice. You know, so I can see that actually end up being really viable. Griffin Wings, Cavalry, Flying, Training. Whenever a creature attacks with another creature, put a 1/1 on this creature. I like that. And your standard white scaling. Whenever Griff captures, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, target attacking creature without flying gains flying till the end of turn. I actually like that. Being able to give flying to any creature you want, so it makes it easier to hit your your life steals or whatever, or life links. Repository scab, exploit, and when repository scab exploits a creature, return target instant sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So again, we're seeing more to your graveyards. So you're gonna want to be looking at exiling a lot of graveyard cards. And I know we have some, or we used to have some cards. I don't know if they're still in circulation now, where you could exile the entire player's graveyard, which that is now a really viable choice to be looking at right now. Usually you would see a lot of those being ran back when, again, Dream Den was more viable. And now it's just, if you run it, it's just on the off chance you're going to be running into somebody that solely relies on pulling their cards out the graveyard. So destroy target creature or planeswalker, create 2 blood tokens. I'm torn on this because we really have to find out how good blood tokens are going to end up being, because creating 2 blood tokens so far, I don't know where I stand on it, because it ends up being a, well, blood tokens are going to be really good. Are you gonna want to use your standard like murder cards? I'm trying to remember what it was called. Crap, I can't remember what it was called. But you get the gist. 6 mana to take out 1 creature card, or planeswalker, when you can do that in a lot of 2 mana cards, 2 to 3 mana cards. So that's kind of where I'm torn on it. So you really have to determine what is the value of blood tokens to you, to then determine if this is viable. But if you're running a dark deck, are you going to be able to get that 6 mana? Or is it going to be one of those things, are you going to have to end faster than most other colors? Edgar Charm Groom. Other vampires you control get a 1/1. Okay, and I'm happy about this card just because it is a combo with the white and black. So other vampires you control get 1/1. When Edgar Charm Groom dies, return it. Blah blah. Return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. And then we'll see. So you can also be an artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token with lifelink. Put bloodline counter on Edgar Markroft's coffin. And then when there's 3 or more bloodline counters on it, remove those counters and transform. Okay, I'm actually excited to use that. So I like the idea of being able to summon out 1/1s for practically nothing. So, okay, so we got Sure Strike. We've seen this. Unhallowed Phallic, or Phallic? I think I'm saying it right. Unhallowed enters the battlefield tapped by mana with 13 health. That is fucking beefy. Until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner control with a 1/1 counter on it. So a lot of the Undying cards I personally like, but that was also when we had the one priest card where when he died, you can pull him back as a 4/4 angel, or 4/4 demon angel, or 5/5. But this card is more useful for you run into a nuke the board and you can kind of keep your carry cards and whatever you might need. So they're viable. I mean, I can end up seeing this being more situational than what you'd expect. Ancestral Anger. Target creature gains trample and gets X, or plus X plus 0 until the end of turn, where X is plus the number of cards named Ancestral Anger in your graveyard. Meh. Blood Petal Celebrant. Aw, that's a cute card. Blood Petal Celebrant has first strike as long as it's attacking. When Blood Petal Celebrant dies, create a blood token. Okay, so Dreadfuge, we'll read the normal cost and then we'll read what it will do if it cleaves. So target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it with a mana value of 2 or less. That player discards a card. And if you cleave it, target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards a card. Not bad. Sorcery. Each player chooses a non-land permanent they control. Return all non-land permanents not chosen this way to their owner's hands. When you draw a card, each opponent who has more cards in their hand than you. And then whenever a human you control dies, draw a card. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it dies, you gain 2 life. Vampire's Vengeance deals 2 damage to each non-vampire creature. Okay, again, we're going to be running into these. So you're really going to want to run vampires to every non-vampire. So again, you're running angels, clerics. There's a good chance you might you might want to run some vampires. Destroy target attacking creature. Destroy target creature. Or target attacking creature for the 2 costs. Destroy. I don't know. I'm still torn on this. I feel like it's still a high cost to destroy 1 creature card. Creepy Puppeteer. I like these. Haste. Whenever Creepy Puppeteer attacks, if you attack one other creature this combat, you may have that creature's base power and toughness become a 3/3 till end, or 4/3 till the end of turn. Cleave. Return wolf or werewolf to its creature's owner's hand. Draw a card. And then if you pay the cleave price, it's just a creature and not a wolf or werewolf. Whenever a Vampire Slayer deals damage to a vampire, destroy that creature. So essentially, this is Death Touch for any vampire card. So target player loses 2 life. And again, if you're playing against somebody and they're just looking at what you have and they don't see a real like Death Touch or anything like that, they're not going to consider this card a threat because it's easy. It's easy for it to slip your mind every now and then. But we really have to see how often are we going to be running into vampires now, to determine if this card's worth using. Target player loses 2 life, you gain 2 life, create 2 blood token. So I don't know how to really handle this because again, we had a card where we have cards where we can destroy creature cards for 2 mana. And then now we get another card. Again, that card did give a clue where they could draw a card, but hey, at the cost of 2 mana. But overall, I think that's fair. But now we have a Vampire's Kiss where we can create 2 blood tokens. Target player loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. Create your 2 blood tokens for 2 mana. When we have a destroy creature card, create 2 of these for 6 mana. So it's like, so some of the destroy cards I'm not feeling, but I know Vampire's Kiss, you will be seeing these, especially if somebody is using blood tokens to its full use. You're gonna be seeing Vampire's Kiss. Serpent Ambush. Until end of turn, target creature becomes a blue serpent with base power and 5/5 attacking with you. Put a 1/1 counter. Okay. Get ready to see these. Get ready to see these in everyone's favorite blue decks. Okay, Jacob. Draw a card, then exile a card from your hand face down. You may look at that card as long as it remains exiled. You may pay 6 mana. If you do, Jacob or transform Jacob Inspector. Um, and then at the beginning, and then here's the enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep: exile top card from your library face down. You may look at that card as long as it remains exiled. Once during each of your turns, you may play a land or cast a spell from among the cards exiled with with this permanent without paying its mana cost. So with that being said, this is 2 mana cards. So you're going to be seeing some big mana cards in about round 3 just because of this enchantment. If they do end up, paying that cost to then transform the card, but you're going to be seeing a lot more big mana cards used at once. So you might get spammed with more. Again, you might get spammed with more what are they called? I don't know if it's like the borrowed time or whatever it is. Enchantment reward. Wait. Here, let me look at the wolf. Okay, a snarling wolf gains 2 tune at the end of turn. Activate only each. Okay, this can be one of your cards that you're gonna have to take out as quick as you can before it starts stacking damage. Enchant a creature. Whenever it enters the battlefield under your control, this creature gets 1/1 until end of turn. When Nurturing Presence enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 spirit creature token. So we're gonna enchant a creature. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature enters the battlefield under your control, creature gets 1/1 until end of turn. When Nurturing Presence. So I don't really understand how that's gonna. So does it make both of these things happen, or are you gonna have to use something like teleportation? So we got lifelink, 2/2 lifelink. So we're seeing some more lifelink cards because in the white mana decks there wasn't a whole lot of lifelink cards compared to previous sets we've had. Enchanted creature. Okay, so this is a creature and enchantment. So that's good. That gives you more versatility. If Enchanter's Embrace would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So if you don't use like the so if like afterwards you get to disturb it and pull it in as the enchantment, which I like how it's a creature and then an enchantment. What'll happen is if you're so the thing is for white meta decks right now is exile deck. So you want to be spamming exile because that's how a lot of your cards are going to be scaling. So with something like this if you lose your spirit, you automatically exile that card. So now you're going to get some extra counters in, and that's going to be useful. That's going to be an extra tick, or even if they mill the card, that's an extra tick. All right, Serpent's Egg, yeah, because we need more egg cards. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2, then when you sacrifice Loom Egg, return it to the battlefield, transform under its owner's control at the beginning of the next step. Sacrifice 2 islands, Biome Serpent can't be blocked this turn. Okay, so sacrifice some islands. That's interesting. Because it's not like you're tapping, you're sacrificing islands. Okay, we got a planeswalker. So add 1 mana, 1 red mana, dress to kill, deals 1 damage up to 1 target player or planeswalker. Okay, so it has 2+1 effects. Exile the top card of your library. If it's red, you may cast it this turn. That's again the lottery you're gonna have to play. So you're gonna see these more in mono red decks. Exile top 5 cards. You may cast red spells from among them. Get the emblem. Whenever you cast a red spell, this emblem deals X damage to any target where X is the amount of mana spent that spell. Don't worry, it essentially will be over most of them. When Daybreak Command enters, target creature gets +2 damage. Whenever Geist enters combat, or whenever Geist deals combat damage, create a blood token. So if blood tokens are viable. You're going to be seeing a lot of them spammed. So whenever you attack with one or more creatures, target player mills that many cards. Put Screaming Swarm from your graveyard into your library from the top. Okay, as long as you have one or more counters on a creature this turn. Paladin has Trample and Lifelink. And pay 3 mana. Target creature you control with 1/1 counter gains Trample a Lifelink. That might end up being really annoying. So you're going to see a lot of high damage cards with Trample now. We've already have a Wolf Rider. Okay, you got your Death Touch. Scorpions, when enters battlefield, gain control. A target creature you control gains Death Touch until end of turn. Defender, whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, Steelclad can attack this turn. Okay, so whenever an enchantment enters a battlefield, then he can attack. So that's only good in like those older enchantment heavy decks where you're running like 4 different colors, in my personal opinion. Whenever Veldrin enters the battlefield, deal 1 damage to each opponent, create a blood token. Okay, we're seeing more 1 damage to each opponent. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of turn. You may play those cards. Let's see. Trample, tap 2 untapped creatures. Honeymoon Heresy becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. So you have to tap your creatures to use this. So you might see a lot of just token creatures getting tapped to pull this in. So dig up, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle it. But if you cleave with it, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So that's going to be annoying because now green cards are in charge of what they pull out. Okay, we got a mythic at the. Okay, I want to read this. I want to read the mythic, but enchant a creature whenever. Okay, so here's an enchantment that would go with that other card. Whenever enchanted, when Fear of Death enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards. Enchanted creature gets -X, where X is the number of cards in the graveyard. Whenever another creature you control, dies, transform Desperate Farmer to Desperate Harvester, and he has lifelink. You know, so you can burn a token, create one of these. So, Cloak Cadet. Whenever one or more 1/1 counters are put onto more humans you control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once a turn. Destroy. We've seen this. Okay. So at the beginning of each combat, your turn, choose one that hasn't been chosen. So you're only going to end up picking 3. So you're going to have to, each player sacrifice a card, you draw a card and lose a life, and transform Damathi into a now flying Death Touch lifelink, and with an extra cost to it where you can spend 3 mana. Each creature you control with flying, Death Touch, and or lifelink gets +1 till end of turn, which I like it more than Boast. All right, Chill the Grave. When this spell cost enters, if you control a zombie, this costs 1 less. If you control a zombie, tap target creature. It does not untap during its controller untap step. And we got exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Fleeting Spirit gains first strike until end of turn. Discard a card. Exile Fleeting Spirit. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of its next. Doug, I'm not gonna lie. Red actually looks. Again, I've been so biased so biased to like white and black cards, but red the red decks actually look like they'd end up being pretty fun. When Brambleworm enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life. So and then exile for 3 mana from your graveyard. You gain 3 health. Okay, so that's like a quick last minute heal, but I don't. It is again 7 mana, so I don't know how often you're gonna run into this, and we've already had. Okay, flying. When Carrier Bat enters the battlefield, you gain life this turn. Return 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, that makes the healing decks even more viable because you can pull your creature cards from the graveyard. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, Dwarf or Dawnheart Disciple gets 1/1 till end of turn. Until the end of turn, target creature gets 3/3, and one other target creature gets 2/2, and one other target creature gets 1/1. Those creatures gain Vigilance. I like the little 3 Musketeers cards. That's cool. Alpac Piper. You may put this creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If it's a wolf or werewolf, untap Holy or Howlpack Piper. Activate this only as a sorcery. And then the spell also can't be countered. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield, this or transforms into a Wildersong Howler, look at the top 6 cards from your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand from the battlefield. Okay, we got wild card. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a basic land card. Which honestly, I like that because some people try to cheese with that. I'll throw away my land. Enchant a creature you control. When Cradle of Safety enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gains hexproof until end of turn. This might be clutch. And then each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to toughness of power. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all the land cards revealed this way to the reveal top 4 cards of your library. Put all those land cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. So again, top 4 cards, whatever those 4 cards, if they're not land, they go to your graveyard. All lands go to your hand. Okay, Bruno Shamanic. When Bruno Shamanic enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at that top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it is a creature card with mana value 6 or greater. Reveal it this way, transform into Ruminio Stormic. And then he will transform into to a 3/5 flying. When Prothis, Lord of the Deep, attacks, created tapped an attacking token, and that's a copy of another attacking creature. Okay, so now we're gonna get a lot. Copy cards. Yeah, so we are gonna need to run removals, is from what I'm hearing. Well, we'll see if we can end up pulling one. Okay, Lantern Flare. Okay, choose 1 exile target zombie. Target player exiles 2 cards from their hand. This might be useful. I really love the art. Estwald Shield Basher. Whenever Shield Basher attacks, you may pay 1 mana. If you do, in any color mana, it gains indestructible until end of turn. That is useful. That is something we're gonna want, especially if we got assholes like Velvet Wasabi over here with his 8/7 trample on turn 5. We're gonna need something like that. Discard a card, and Bloodsworn Squire gains indestructible. More indestructible cards. That's good. Discard a card. Target gains indestructible to end a turn. Tap it. Then if there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, transform Bloodswarm, blah, blah, blah. Bloodswarm, Knight's power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So if you're running like a... So you can't run this card if you're running a combo deck with white where it's reliant on exiling your cards in the graveyard. So this is something that you're going to want to run if, again, you're relying off of graveyard cards. Cleave, whenever, or I'm already looking at the cleave. Lantern Flare, whenever Lantern Flare deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, you gain X life. X is the number of creatures you control. So it's a better in a hybrid deck. A lot of these cards feel like they're more versatile for are trying to bring back a lot of multicolor combinations back. I mean, you still see them, but it's not as common. So I feel like cards like this is something that's really going to bring it back. Okay, we got a lot of white cards in here. Target creature... So you have to tap it. Target creature gets +1 until end of turn. You gain 1 life. Activate only as a sorcery. So this could replace, if you're running something like I am, the clerics where you tap them and they heal 1 health, but now they will also get a +1 damage boost. So now you're tapping something and then also getting that extra little bit of damage out, which Traveling Minister might actually be a viable pick in a lot of healing decks. Okay, this is a more of a unique card for, again, comparing for the last couple packs we've had in terms of white, because you don't see white cards that deal a certain amount of damage on its own. So seeing that we have a white mana card for 1 mana to do a fixed amount of damage to a target creature card, I think that's really cool. Panic Bystander. Whenever Panic Bystander or another creature you control dies, gain 1 life. Okay, standard. Another creature you control dies, gain 1 life. Crackling Corporate gains Death Touch. So he still keeps it passive, but now he's a viable card. So unlike having again, your cards where when you pull somebody in, you heal 1 health, or when somebody dies, you heal 1 health. Instead of having that, now you can essentially have just the dying, not when people enter, but when you still get the healing, and he is a viable attacking card. Or he's not just somebody that you just kind of keep in the back line for a blocker. Because at that point, what's stopping you from getting a card with Learn and, you know, exiling a card that way? Okay, so we got Heron's Spirit, Blessed Skies, flying, win. And then, so he's a 3/3, exile a Heron, guys, from your graveyard, create 2 white. Okay, so we can exile him from your graveyard for 4 mana, create 2 white spirit creature tokens with flying, activate only if you control an enchantment, and only as a sorcery. So you have, so if you have the token bloods, that wouldn't really count, again, because they are artifacts. But if you're running anything like, let's say you used a Borrowed Time, you can count that as your enchantment. When Diregraph Scavenger enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target card from your graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. Hey. Okay, you draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, then create a blood token. Pretty good card. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is a pretty fair card to use. I think it's nothing amazing, but it's not a bad card. Bramble Armor. When Bramble Armor enters the battlefield, attach it to a target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 equipped, and it is 4. Target creature gains 2/2, and gains indestructible until end of turn. Nice. Indestructible cards are always useful because you're going to be running into a lot of destroy cards. I personally like indestructible cards. It It can be a make or break sometimes, and sometimes it's not even worth using at all. Choose one or both. Choose one or both. Creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. Target vampire you control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. So like how green decks have you can attack any card you want with the target creature. Now red has something like that. When Sulking Killer enters a battlefield, create a creature. Opponent gains -2/-2 until end of turn. If that opponent controls no other creature. A lot of transform cards. Soulcaptor board enters the battlefield with 3 omen counters on it. Pay 2 mana and tap it. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them onto your graveyard. Whenever a creature card from your whenever a creature card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, remove an omen counter from sculptor board, and if it has no omen counters on it, transform it, and it will gain flying. It'll be a 3/2 and can only block creatures with flying. And enters the battlefield. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature card, non-land card from among them. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. Dude, yeah, red definitely looks like the moves right now. Okay, we got another mythic. When Militaire can attack alone, whenever Militaire attacks, untap target creature. Okay, untapping. I like that. We still got more to go. Okay, flying. Disturb. 3 mana. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets a 1/1 and has flying. If a lantern's lit, would be put into a graveyard, exile instead. When Spore Crawler dies, draw a card. When you attack with exactly 2 creatures, transform. Ooh. Gets trample. Whenever this creature transforms into Deadly Dancer, add 2 red mana until end of turn. Okay. You don't lose this mana as steps and phases end, and then spend 2 red mana on Deadly Dancer and another target creature. Give them each 1/1 until end of turn. That's a permanent 2 mana. So Volatate Arsonist, Menace and Haste. That's scary. Menace and Haste, but it's 5 mana. So around this point, you should have something on the board. Whenever it attacks, do 1 damage to each, up to 1 target creature, up to 1 player, or up to 1 planeswalker. And then when it transforms, exact same thing, but 2 damage. And he gets an extra tick of damage. Archghoul, Thrabin, over Archghoul, another zombie you control dies. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a zombie card, you may reveal it, put it into your hand. If you don't put the card into your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. Oh, I didn't see what that was. My bad. When Gluttonous Geist enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Whenever you sacrifice a blood token, you gain 1 life. That's pretty useful. Can't really complain. When enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature gets +1 damage, +3 toughness. Enchanted creature gets +3 damage, +3 toughness. Whenever a creature attacks, you may sacrifice a forest. If you do, creature gains trample until end of turn. Here, let's check real quick. Now I'm curious. Yeah, okay, yeah, here it is. Cemetery Protector. When Cemetery enters the battlefield, exile a card from your graveyard. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, if it shares a card type with the exiled card, create a 1/1 human creature token. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that actually does look pretty good. Oh, wait, I want to see her. Wait, is she an avatar? Because if she's an avatar, I want to get her. Ooh, those card backs look fucking nice. Oh, dude, the fucking frog! Guys, look, the frog! Look at him! I love it! I got some cosmetics to here, give me 1 second. I got some cosmetics to yeah, how it is. I got guys, don't blame me. Like guys, it's just I have a problem, okay? You're talking about the guy that I don't even play Fortnite, but I went out of my way to download Fortnite to buy the Master Chief skin. I have issues. I want this. No, I want the stickers. Guys, do I get the card pack? Do I get the card pack or the avatar? No, I can get both. I can get both.
Enough hiding in the shadows.
Fuck yeah! I can get both. Fuck yeah! Wait, what? No, I gotta go daily deals. Daily deals. No, not daily deals. Featured. Fuck yeah, dog! Fuck yeah, dog! Duh. Okay, so and because I love Master Chief and I know how Fortnite is with their skins. Efficient, but you don't tap and put that counter on, but that is 5 mana. So yeah. Lightning Bolt gains first strike until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. And we're seeing here, deal 3 damage to target creature. You gain 3 life. But if you use the non-cleave, you can only hurt a human. When Valkyrie Celebrant enters the battlefield, create 2 blood tokens. 5 mana though, yikes. Enchanted creature gets 2/2 as long as it's a vampire, otherwise it gets -2/2. So yeah, so you can throw it on your vampire card, give it damage, or you can throw it on an enemy card and then it just end up destroying them with it. Okay, we got Prowler and Mythic. With Vigilance, whenever Prowler enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. Spells you cast cost 1 less. For each card type shared with cards exiled as Cemetery Prowler. Okay, so Wedding Invitation. So when Wedding Invitation enters the battlefield, draw a card, sacrifice Wedding Invitation, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. If it's a vampire, it also gains lifelink until end of turn, which that sounds useful. Just making a card unblockable, especially for like a last minute play. Let's see. When Lantern of the Lost enters battlefield, exile a target card from a graveyard. Exile Lantern of the Lost, exile all cards from the graveyard, then draw a card. Create a 1/1 spirit creature with token and flying. This ability triggers once each turn. If you would gain that much... Okay, if you would gain that much life +1. Again, so instead of using Angel, because Angel essentially does this, but she's a 2/2 and this is a 2/3. And it also has the ability where you can give it lifelink at the end of turn. Draw a card for each creature card you control. And then if it was casted normally, draw a card for each creature with flying you control. Hey, we got Soren. We got Soren, guys. Okay, we did it. We can end the stream here. All right, see you guys. Bye. We did it. Okay, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card and put it into your hand. If you do, lose life equal to its mana value. And it's -2. Create a 2/3 black vampire token with lifelink, flying and lifelink. Solar Merciless deals 13 damage to any target, and you gain 13 life. That's actually not a bad planeswalker. It's not that bad. You pull out lifelink cards with flying, and then you get to look at the top card of your hand, and then and then put it to your hand, lose life to its thing, but you're getting lifelink, so it's not a big deal. When encrypted creature gets 1, Alright, when Statuette enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Whenever you sacrifice a blood token, you may have Statuette become a 3/3 vampire artifact creature with haste until end of turn. Destroy all creatures if you cleave it. Destroy all creatures with mana value 2 or less if you use the 2 cost. Training, when polished training dies, put its counters. When it dies, put its counters on a target creature you control. That's fucking good. That right there, that's a fucking good ability. Especially if you're running Luminarchs. Now you have somebody to put all your counters on. Because now, if I put all my counters I get from either, whether it be Cleric class or anything like that, I can slap it on her. If she dies, boom, it's on the next person. That is a good card. Okay, Tide. Reversing Tide. You may cast a spell that as though it had flash if you pay 2 more. So 5 mana, and it's just a standard 3/3, 6/3. Okay, Flying Trample. Whenever you cast spells that a player, whenever your opponent casts spells, whenever your opponent casts a spell that a player creates, a blood token. Blood Purveyor attacks gets 1/1 for each blood token defending player controls. Okay, good. I'm glad we actually. When Undead Butler enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. When Undead Butler dies, you may exile it. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And it says a target creature card, so anything you want back to your hand. Okay, Shatter Sanctum enters battlefield. Or control, blah blah. Just your standard. Yes, sir. How many mythics we got? 9 mythics, 8 rares. Flying Wandering Spirit can only be blocked with speech by creatures with flying. At the beginning of your combat turn, if you control another wolf or werewolf, put a 1/1 counter on Pack Song Pup. And then when Pack Smoke dies, you gain life equals to his power. Oh fuck! I need to do my insurance for work later. Okay, Hollowed Haunting. Okay, as long as you control 7 or more enchantments, creatures you control have flying and vigilance. That's good. However, how are we gonna pull out 7 enchantments? So it's a matter of, okay, yes, we get this. Now we gotta pull out 7 enchantments. So whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a white spirit cleric creature token with this creature power and toughness are equal to the number of spirits you control. So that's something you're probably going to see more push into, like how I'm saying, like you might be seeing more like hybrid decks. You might see that more in a hybrid deck. We already know what these are. Dominating Vampire. We already. No, as long as it's your turn, Sporeback Wolf gets +2 health. Okay, flying, exploit, flash, when overcharged, exploits a creature, target spell activated by this ability. Counter a target spell. Fuck. So now he has a creature. Now blue decks have a. I mean, I could see it, but it's just like, Because I know there's that one card where when it dies, it turns into an enchantment. But from what I'm seeing overall, there is a lot of enchantments in general. And a lot of them do have like combinations with other colors. So I feel like that might resurface into a meta in its new form. Because it also gives you benefit on spirits. And so I know blue decks have a lot of spirits right now too. So that's where I'm thinking it's mostly gonna end up going into. But I mean, we could definitely see if we could put together a enchantment deck, or a mono white enchantment deck. Vigilance, sacrifice, Allenbach, escort target creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. So target creature you control with a 1/1 counter target on it gains lifelink and indestructible at the end of turn. So now Luminarchs have indestructible on it. We're running quick escorts. Okay, whenever a creature you control exploits a non-creature, create 2 zombies. Additional cost for the spell, exile creature card from your graveyard. Exile Cobble Lancer from graveyard, draw a card. We've already seen these. At the beginning of your combat turn, up to 2 target creatures you control get +1 for until end of turn. It becomes a knight. Discard any a number of cards, then draw that many cards +1. That's gonna be an annoying card. Voice of the Blessed. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Voice of the Blessed. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 4 or more counters, it has flying and vigilance. This is gonna be your new cleric. This is gonna be your new cleric. So now, instead of having your cards that scale off of, again, the every time you heal, now you have Voice of the Blessed, where it gains other benefits for more counters it has. That's a very good card. So I already have a deck idea on how we can actually make some decks work for a mono white. I fucking love him. Whenever a frog you control attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever a permanent card is put in the graveyard, exile it with the croak counter on it. You may play lands and cast spells among those cards, blah, blah, blah. All right, guys. I think we've seen most of the cards. We're just gonna start flushing our way through these because I already think I know what kind of deck we're gonna do. As long as you control this spell has flash. As long as you control spirit, when you cast this spell, tap 2 target creatures you don't control. Enchanted creature you control gets 1/2. Meh. Planeswalker. Okay. Creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of phase. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control until end of turn. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Exile all cards from all graveyards and create a 1/1 flying spirit with a token for each card exiled this way. That's something we're gonna have to put a pen in. Ah, dude. That fucking sucks, man. How are your games going? Ah, dude, I feel so bad. Did any of the games count? Ah, dude. Ah, that fucking sucks, man. I wish I could give you mine, because I know I'm never gonna use it. Exile a card from a graveyard. Create a creature. Create a token that's a copy of an exiled card, except it's a 0/0 construct artifact token. This creature gets 1/1 for each construct you control next. Well, actually, you could probably get away with those. Enchantment creature gets +2 and an additional +3. It has death touch as long as equipment named Bride's Ground. Okay, so here's the grooms and double strike and disturb. Enchanted creature has double strike. If okay, here's another enchantment. If Twin Blade would be put exile instead. So we have to build a hybrid exile kind of deck. Here, we'll just straight up just open the 10. Here's our 10 rares. We got another Hollowed Haunting. So we're running 3 Hollowed Haunting. So at that point, we might as well build for it. Alright, guys. Now we're gonna fucking build a deck. Let's see. We got nothing but creature cards. We probably want to add some enchantments. So we got there are 2 enchantments right there. If we do teleportation circle, we can do teleportation circle. We do teleport. I think I should probably take out familiar. We might want. I want Skyclaves, but I don't know who I'd replace for Skyclaves. Or actually, I can do something like that. Get 2 Skyclaves, 2 Dawnbringers, and then just only be 1 over. Alright, there we go. I don't know why that's showing up. Oh, wait. We can't forget. We can't forget. We can't forget. Because it's down. Okay, here, let's reboot the game. Let's see if that helps. I will go into whatever it lets me in. Mid-match. Matchmaking is currently disabled. Updates will be provided when necessary. So yeah, so we're just chilling.